You know what I miss most? Walter Finch's voice trembled softly as he sat in his usual booth at Rosie, Steiner. Someone remembering how I take my coffee. His hands shook slightly as he unfolded the newspaper. More habit than intention. Mara Brennan, the waitress on shift, paused mid-pour, the words sinking into her like a quiet ache. She'd been working at Rosie's for 6 years, saving what little she could while paying off her mother's hospital bills. She had learned to notice what people didn't say. 2 sugars, no cream, she said gently, setting the cup in front of him. And you fold the sports section first. Even though you read the obituaries. Walter looked up, startled. His faded blue eyes filled with tears he didn't expect. You notice, Mara smiled faintly. Everyone deserves to be noticed, Mr. Finch. From that morning on, Walter became part of her routine, like the clink of plates or the hiss of the coffee machine. He arrived every day at 7:15 a.m., always in the same cardigan, always with polished shoes. His order never changed: toast, scrambled eggs, and coffee. But he always left a $5 tip on an $8 bill. Over time, Mara learned his story. His wife, Dorothy, had passed 3 years earlier. His son had moved across the country, too busy for calls. His grandson Marcus visited once or twice a year, always in a rush, always distracted by his phone. I don't blame him, Walter had said one morning, staring out the window. People have lives. I'm just in between chapters now. Waiting for the epilogue. Mara reached across the counter and squeezed his hand. Maybe you're just starting a new chapter, Mr. Finch. Maybe it just hasn't been written yet. She began saving him the morning newspaper before others grabbed it, reserving his booth, making sure his coffee was warm. On his birthday, which he only mentioned once, she brought him a slice of apple pie with a single candle. He wept openly. You're the only one who remembered, he whispered. But time, as it does, began to change things. Walter's hands shook more often. His smile came slower. His eyes grew tired, and one Tuesday he didn't come at all. Worry gnawed at Mara until her shift ended. Using the old phone book behind the counter, she found his address and went to check. He answered the door in pajamas, embarrassed. I fell, he admitted quietly. Nothing broken. Just tired. So tired, Mara. From then on, she came by after work, bringing groceries, helping with his medicine, reading him the newspaper when his eyes refused. Her manager complained about her missed shifts, but Mara didn't care. Walter had no one else. And she knew what loneliness felt like. It had followed her since her father left, and her mother's illness had swallowed her future. Why do you do this? Walter asked one evening, voice soft, almost fragile. You don't owe me anything. Mara adjusted his blanket and smiled through tears. Because someone should, Mr. Finch. Because you matter. Because kindness isn't about convenience. It's about being human. 3 weeks later, Walter passed away peacefully in his sleep. When the hospice nurse called, Mara froze. He had listed her as his emergency contact. She stood in the diner's kitchen and cried until her knees gave out, mourning a man who had become family. His funeral was small. Mara, the nurse, a few neighbors. Then a man in a tailored suit rushed in, phone still in his hand. I'm Marcus Finch, he said. Walter's grandson. Where's everyone? Mara's voice shook. You're looking at everyone. We were all he had. Marcus's eyes flickered with guilt. I was busy. I had work. Mara's words came out quiet but sharp. He died alone. Waiting for someone to remember he existed, Marcus left without another word. Mara thought that was the end. 2 weeks later, Marcus returned, this time with 2 lawyers. Her heart sank. She thought he had come to argue over inheritance, but Marcus's expression wasn't greedy. It was broken. Miss Brennan, one lawyer began, Mr. Finch left something for you. Marcus took a deep breath, pulling out a letter. He wanted me to read this with you present. He opened the envelope and read aloud, voice trembling. Marcus, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I don't blame you for being busy, but I want you to know about Mara Brennan. She's a waitress who makes $8 an hour. She had nothing extra to give, but she gave me everything that mattered, her time, her kindness, her heart. She remembered my coffee. She remembered my birthday. She saw me when I became invisible. I'm leaving her the house because she gave me something more valuable than money. She gave me dignity in my final chapter. Learn from her, Marcus. Success means nothing if you're too busy to love people. Be more like Mara. When Marcus finished reading, Tears streamed down his face. I thought I was honoring him by working hard, he whispered. But I forgot to just be with him. Mara's own tears fell. He knew you loved him, Marcus. He just needed to feel it more often. From that day forward, Marcus changed. He began visiting the diner, not as a customer, but as a friend. He listened to people, learned their names, their stories, their coffee orders. He volunteered at the senior center Walter had once mentioned. And together, he and Mara turned Walter's old house into something new. A community space for lonely elders, a place to belong. They called it Walter's Corner. At its grand opening, 1 year later, Mara looked around at the full room. Laughter, conversation, the smell of coffee. Marcus stood beside her. Do you think he knows? He asked softly. Mara smiled through tears. I think he always knew that one act of kindness could change everything. An elderly woman approached, holding a cup. How do you take your coffee, dear? Mara smiled. 2 sugars, no cream. I'll remember that, the woman said. Everyone deserves to be remembered, and in that moment, Mara finally understood. We aren't meant to be remembered by history or monuments, but by each other. In small gestures, in daily rituals, and a cup of coffee made just right.